podcast called Jellison Podcast.
He probably doesn't remember this at all.
Yeah, we work together. It's easy.
This is kind of real, like holy shit.
And so it's really cool to get to be a part of that.
Hey, you know how it is, though. Hey, when
you now tune into the biggest ever.
We're not here just to take part. We're here to take over.
I don't remember that. That's crazy.
What's up, everyone? We're back with the first episode of 2022 of the Jellison Podcast. They have a very special guest, one of my favorite all-time Colts players, 14-year NFL vet, Super Bowl champ, Antoine Bethea. Antoine, how are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for coming on. Obviously, like I said, I've been a big-time fan of yours for a long time, so I'm glad we got to do this. But right off the jump, I wanted you to talk a little bit about the Bethea Family Foundation, because I've seen you guys have been doing a lot of good around the holiday season.
Yeah, man. Like you said, man, Bethea Family Foundation is my foundation. I started in 2010. It started off as a Safe Coverage Foundation. And just recently, we changed the name to the Bethea Family Foundation. But again, it's one foundation that we focus on going to the inner cities and providing resources and creating relationships to help the youth in those inner city continue to get a higher education. It doesn't necessarily have to be college, but going out and getting a trade or whatever the case may be. And also with that, we try to do our part, just giving out and giving out a helping hand. And obviously around the holidays, there's some families that's either falling on hard times or just need a little bit of assistance. And that's where the Bethea Family Foundation comes in at. This year we've been doing this for 10 years. With COVID, it's a little different now, but we pick 10 families, man. When we get the families $1,000 where they can go to Target or Walmart or whatever the case may be, be able to get some things to help the family out during the holidays.
Yeah, man. And I mean, that's super special, first of all, but I saw that you were actually there in person at the events. A lot of guys maybe don't have time or don't make the time for that. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, for you to do that, it's super special. And I saw that you guys had like an event at the Giants facility, I believe it was. And then you guys all went to Walmart. I mean, how much of a blessing is it for you to be able to have the platform and the ability to make an actual difference on people's lives?
Nah, man, that's what it's about. Obviously, when we play the game, we on TV, man. That's all fine and dandy. But I always used to say that, once I got done playing the game, or when I'm gone, if anybody ever remember me, it's all they remember me for was what I did on the field. I failed. So being able to have that platform and be able to give back and be a blessing to somebody's life, man, that's what it's all about. So until I'm in that dirt, man, I'm gonna continue to try to lend a helping hand to those that need it.
That's awesome. I absolutely love hearing that. I wish more guys were like you and wanted to go out and make a difference and actually like affect people's lives, because I feel like a lot of guys, I don't know if I want to say that, but I see a lot of guys that do stuff, but they're not actually there and they're not actually in the trenches with these families and creating those relationships, like you said.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's at the end of the day, man, the way I look at it, if you're, giving half of the effort, man, that's better than nothing. You know what I'm saying? So even if you are giving monetary funds to a family and you're not there, granted, you still helping a family out. So if anybody's taking a second out of their time to give assistance, man, I tip my hat to them, because they really don't have to be doing anything, So again, obviously it's a plus where, the guys can go out with the families or whatever, the families can touch them, you can have that one-on-one interaction. But again, man, I tell the guys, like, look, if you can just do a little bit, a little bit coming from you can mean a lot to somebody else.
100%, because a lot of people, especially kids growing up, they look at their favorite football players on TV and they're like, oh, these guys are my heroes. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah. I mean, I'm sure you're well aware of that, just given your career and everything that you've accomplished. But Yeah, it's something different. I don't think you can put it into words for what it means to them. Um, but I mean, kind of parlaying that, you were blessed to play 14 years in what I think is the hardest league in all of sports, just in terms of the skills you have, taking care of your body, staying injury free. I mean, do you feel like that was a little bit of luck, or did you do above and beyond to take care of your body to be able to play that long?
Man, it was both, man. It was luck. It was luck. It was me taking care of my body. It was everything. Like, I just can't sit here and say, "Oh, I took care of my body," because I know some guys that took really good care of their body, but it was just some instances of some bad luck where get injured here this season, get injured the next season. So I'm not gonna sit here and act like that. So it was definitely um, combined with all of that. But what I used to always tell the younger guys is that you got to control what you can control, And that's, how you train during the off season, how much sleep and rest you get, what you put in your body, what you're doing after practice, how many times you get in the cold tub, in the hot tub, you sitting in the sauna, you getting stretched. So those are things that I knew I could control. Now, if I go out there and I plant wrong and I tear ACL, I can't control that. You understand what I'm saying? If obviously it's some little things that you do in training that can kind of help strengthen some things, but at the end of the day, if I go in there and I, make a tackle and I, do something to my neck, that's something that I can't really control. But the other things, the tweaks, the pulls, being late to meetings and stuff like that, those are things that I can control to, to have that longevity in the league.
Yeah, and you look at all the things that you guys have now at your disposal. I mean, anything you can track your heart rate and your sleep and diet and everything like that. So I mean, you guys have all the tools now. But I mean, you look at some guys, a couple guys that you played with. I mean, Bob Sanders is a good example of that. Unfortunately, he just couldn't stay on the field for whatever reason. And then, like you said, you plant wrong. Two guys that you played with, Robert Mathis and Reggie Wayne, stayed pretty healthy throughout their careers. And then, I mean, Rob went down with a Achilles, I believe it was, and then Reggie planted wrong and tore his ACL. So I mean, you just never know with those things.
Nah, man, and that's part of the game, and that's something that we all know when we play this game. Snap of a finger, man, your season could be done, your career could be done. So it's one of them things that you can't take it for granted. You got to play like it sounds cliche, but it's true. Where you got to play every down like it's your last practice or game.
Mm-hmm. And when you came into the league, I don't remember if you came in like 2006, 7, right?
In 2006.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, was it a big topic of conversation with the head injuries and CTE and things like that? Were you guys cognizant of that?
I think with the CTE and the concussions, I think you playing the game, you always are aware of it. You know what I mean? But I think as technology grows and more people are more upfront about the things that they're dealing with, I think that's when it becomes where it is now. Because a lot of times, I mean, as men, and it's not a good thing where you could be at home with your family just battling with different things related to CTE, related to the concussions that you got, but you really don't want to put it out there in the public because you feel as though the public's going to view you a certain type of way. But now with, the documented deaths and, suicides and just, a lot that's related to the CTEs and the concussions, I think it's well aware by the public, by the players, that it's being talked about more. But doing when I first got in the league, even before I got in the league, guys knew what was going on, and how. And I think the league knew what was going on and how this was affecting the players as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I mean, you look at some of in the last few weeks. I think it was, I forget which week it was, a couple weeks ago. I saw 3 dudes get knocked completely out in 3 different. It was like Sendejo for the Colts, the tight end for the Chargers, and then Bridgewater. And it's like those head injuries aren't going anywhere, unfortunately.
Nah, man, it's the sport, right? That's why we wear helmets. If we didn't wear, that's why we wear helmets. But again, and I know football gets a lot of the attention as far as head injuries, but if you really sit down and just do the research, I mean, it's a lot of other sports that's right up there with football. You got soccer, cheerleading, hockey. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of sports, that's dealing with the head injury situation. But man, it is scary when you start talking about the brain and how that could affect your life after you get done playing this sport.
Yeah, I read a thing. This was a couple years ago now that people that did like jet skiing could get CTE because like the whiplash of like going up and down. That's something I never really thought about. It's kind of weird, but
nah, it's real though. Like, I mean, obviously the game of football, it's at the forefront of the CTE discussion. But if you really kind of talk to different doctors and things of that nature, they'll tell you that it's a lot more other sports out there that's dealing with the same type of repercussion of concussions and whiplash and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. So like I mentioned, obviously you played for the Indianapolis Colts for 8 seasons. That's my hometown team. So that's how I was kind of introduced to you. What was it like to come into a Super Bowl contending team and contribute right away as a rookie?
Man, I think that was the best thing for me. Obviously, it's like a gift and a curse, right? Now, I'm not gonna say gift and a curse, but it's like at the beginning, it's like, man, I wish I was drafted first, second, third round. But when you getting drafted early, what type of organization are you going to? You know what I mean? So for me, being drafted in the 6th round, being drafted to the Colts, and the type of structure, the type of culture that they already had there, it was a blessing for me. And then, like you said, for me to be able to come in as a rookie and really contribute to what was going on and what we had there, it was a beautiful thing.
What kind of mentality did you have to have going in? Like you said, being a 6th round guy, coming from an HBCU, kind of unheralded and not known like widely around the league.
Man, for me, it was all I wanted was the opportunity. You know what I mean? So being drafted in the 6th round, that was cool. That was the first check. But then it was like, okay, when I get to rookie mini camp and OTAs, man, splash on film, make plays. You got this opportunity. Now what are you going to do with it? And that's all I wanted to do day in, day out. Again, like I said, control what I can control, know the playbook, go out there and just play the game that you've been playing all your life, man. So for me, it was just the opportunity and go do what you've been doing your whole life.
Who are some guys, especially on the defensive side? I know, like we mentioned, Bob, Marlon Jackson, Mike Doss, Rob and Freeney. Who are some guys in the locker room that kind of embraced you and helped you with that transition?
I would say Rob Mathis, just because he was a late round draft pick coming from an HBCU. Gary Brackett, undrafted, so he was kind of going through that same process. June, again, late round draft pick that was playing significant time. So off the top of my dome, those are the 3 guys that really embraced me and was like, look, man, like, keep doing what you're doing and, it'll pay off.
And when you first came in, a lot of guys talk about like how kind of, I don't want to say scary, but like the aura of Peyton obviously is massive. What was it like to come in and see him work in kind of his mindset?
Man, I loved it. You know what I mean? You do have that moment where you in awe, where it's, you got Peyton Manning, you got Reggie Wayne, you got Marvin Harrison, Bob Sanders. So it is that moment of like, damn, like, I'm in here. But then, you got to snap out of that quick because you are a part of them now. Like they brought you there to work. But once we got out there on that field, I'm like, okay, well, in my mindset is like, shoot, they're Peyton probably the best quarterback in the league right now. He probably got the best receiving tandem in the league right now. Probably got the best tight end in the league right now. So in my mind, it was like, okay, if I can compete in practice with these guys, not saying Sunday will be easier, but I won't see anything better on Sunday than what I'm seeing during the week.
Yeah, I mean, those teams were absolutely it's kind of crazy to look back and see like just how talented those teams were, especially that Super Bowl run. I mean, I know you kind of, I don't know if you were able to soak it in as much just because you were a rookie. I know Pat McAfee talks about like in '09 when he came in, you guys went to the Super Bowl and you guys lost, and he was like, "Oh, we'll just be back next year," and then he never got back. Were you able to soak in that Super Bowl run, and how do you look back on it now?
Man, I think I was the same way. You know, '06, we come in, I think we was 12-4 that year. We started off like 8-0 or 9-0. And I'm like, well, shit, this is easy. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, I know this, we gonna do this forever. You know, in my mind, I'm like, there's no way that we're not gonna keep the same players. We're not gonna keep what we have going on, because before I got here, they should have went to the Super Bowl the previous year. So I'm like, I can see this going on for years. We made the run, we won. And again, I'm 22 at the time. I'm like, hey, I'm starting my first year, rookie year. I know I'm gonna be back here a couple more times. And obviously we go back in '09 and we lose. But even then, it's like, okay, 2 Super Bowls in 4 years. I'm like, that's still a good ratio. I'm like, we'll get back. Never got back, you know. So now that I'm out of the game, and even when I left Indy, because you know I was in Indy for 8 years, and 7 out of those 8 years we made it to the playoffs. After I left Indy, 6 years after that, I never made it to the playoffs again. So at that time, I was just understanding, like, man, how grateful and how fortunate we were to have the organization and have the foundation that we did have when we were in Indy.
Yeah, when I was doing some research before you came on, I mean, you kind of had the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. One Super Bowl. I mean, we're on that 2-14 Colts team, and then like you mentioned, after you left Indy, you guys had a couple bad years with I think it was San Fran was kind of middling, and then I think you guys went like 3-13 with the Cardinals. I mean, how much did that help, or I mean, I wouldn't say hurt, but how much did that help you as a person, both on and off the field, just having all the experiences?
Yeah, all the experiences, and it's one of them things that Coach Dungy used to always say was like, just be even killed. You know what I mean? Like, you never want to be so high then be so low. Like, you'll kill yourself if you like that. Like, you know what I mean? When things are going good, you're so high, and then when things are going so bad, so just be even killed. And I just try to take that mindset throughout, regardless. Like, you know, if I had a good game, all right, I had a good game. That's what I'm supposed to do. If I had a not so good game, all right, well, you learn from those mistakes. You come back the next week and you get better. And that was kind of the same thing. Like, even when we had the 2-14 season, I would say the record was horrible, but the way we were in the locker room, the way we went out and we fought, the way we were in games, and the way the guys came in each week, I'm like, man, obviously you can ask for a better record, but as far as what you see in these guys, that's what you wanted. So, you know, when I had the 3-13 season in San Fran, 8-8 season, 3-13 in AZ, then my last year in New York wasn't good. It was just kind of that mentality, like, man, shit, it's not always going to be peaches and cream. Like, you're going to have to go through these tough times, and even the tough times ain't really tough times. It's football. It's a game. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you really got some people that's going out here and, you know, don't have lights. They don't have water. You know what I mean? They don't have, so it's people. So if you just keep it in and just have a realization of like what's going on in the outside world, and you just keep it real, man. So again, it's a game. So that's just kind of how I have my mentality about, you know, the ups and the downs.
Mm-hmm. And next, I want to kind of transition quickly to the NFL now. Obviously, you got two weeks left in the regular season before the playoffs. Who do you think poses the toughest test for the Chiefs out of the AFC? Because I know in the NFC is kind of a tough. There's 3 or 4 teams that I think could make it to the Super Bowl, but the Chiefs are the clear front runners in the AFC, in my opinion.
Yeah, you got the Chiefs, man. I like what the Colts are doing. just and I always say, if you got a run game and you got a defense, man, you got a chance. The Colts have that. I would say also in the AFC, the Bills, just because they can put some points up and the defense is solid. And I think the next team I will probably go with is surprisingly the Bengals. If they can play their style of ball. Obviously, they're still young over there, but I like what the Bengals are doing. And even Tennessee, I'm surprised. I know somebody asked me, like, who are you most surprised about in the AFC? And I'm like, I'm surprised that Tennessee was able to keep that number 2 seed with, Derrick Henry being out, Julio Jones being out significant time, A.J. Brown as well. But what they're doing over there with the defense and the guys stepping in, I like that too. But like you said, Kansas City being the front runner, but I like what our Colts are doing, and the Bills.
How hard? This is something I never really thought about. How hard is it to beat like a good playoff caliber team twice in one season? Because for the Colts, for example, there's a high likelihood that we're going to have to play the Bills or the Patriots again. How hard is that? I don't know if you had to do that throughout your career, but how hard do you think that would be to beat a really solid team twice in 1 year?
It's tough. It's tough to win in the NFL. So for you to go out there and beat a good team twice, because you got to think that team is going to go back and watch film, right? They're going to self-scout and they're going to, okay, this is what we did good. This is what we did bad. We did bad in this area. I'm pretty sure they're going to try to attack us again. So it's tough to be able to beat a good team 2 times in one season. But the great teams do it. You find a way to get it done.
And I want to talk about obviously the Man pod. You got the hat on right now. Yeah. You and Deba are 2 of my favorite guys to listen to. I absolutely love what you're doing. How did that all come together? And are you happy that you're able to still stay involved in the league and keep an eye on things?
Yeah, man. It was during COVID. Sitting around the crib, and we was, we were teammates, and we good buddies anyway. So we were like, hey man, what you think about this pod? Doing this pod, and we was thinking about, okay, what name could we use? What are we gonna be talking about? And we just kind of formulated, brought it together, and it's been a slow grind, but I like where we at right now. Being able to get on the pod and talk to one of your homeboys about the game, about current events, about things that men go through in life, and being able to still be a part of the game, but not so into it. You know what I mean? We can do our own thing. We can talk about our own stuff. We can have our own feel and our own vibe. So I like it, man. It's been good, and I'm excited for what 2022 has in store for us.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of good chemistry. You guys crack me up sometimes with some of the stuff that you guys say, just because you guys
man. Buds. Because like we always say, like, even when we live and we got the our listeners in the comments, like, we want to keep this like the locker room, and that's how the locker room was. At times you serious, sometimes you disagree, sometimes you joke. So in the comments, if you say a joke, just be sure that you're able to take it, because if we can joke on you back, we're gonna do it. So it's all in the love, man. And again, like I said, man, I'm excited we were able to get together and do that.
And last thing, just quickly, we talked a couple times about you being a HBCU graduate. How proud are you to be able to represent an HBCU?
Man, I'm excited, man. Like I say all the time, it was the best 4 years of my life. Again, being a young Black man in the world, it was like one time in my life that I was the majority. And it's not many times as a young Black man you can be able to walk in a room or walk in an area where you were like, I'm the majority. So for me, that was an eye opener for me. You know what I mean? So. But then it's just the rich history that we have. And I'll just talk about, my HBCU, Howard University, the rich history. When you talk about Frederick Douglass, Alain Locke, Harriet Tubman, it's just a lot of names that's on that campus where you're looking at these buildings and say like they really had a impact, not on just the Black community, but the world. You know what I mean? Yeah. So again, man, I'm proud to say I'm an HBCU graduate, man. And again, you know, anything I can do, I'll always be an advocate for that.
What is it like to be a part of that community? Because I feel like if you are a graduate of an HBCU, I mean, you guys all kind of rally around each other and kind of, I mean, you all hold that super high, which I admire a lot. What was it like to be a part of that community and be around all those other guys and obviously the historic people that you mentioned?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a beautiful thing because again, you know, we'll chirp at one another. You know, you're saying that, you know, we're the best HBCU or we do this, we have the best homecoming, X, Y, Z. But then when it comes down to it, though, like you said, we all together and we all have a sense of pride of standing behind all HBCUs and what they stand for. So again, man, it's a beautiful thing, and I love to see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I have a lot of respect for that, and I'm going to wrap this thing up because we're coming up on time here. But I just want to say thank you for coming on. I've said it before, but you're one of my favorite players growing up, so it was an honor to be able to do this and plug all your stuff before we hop off here, Man to Man Pod and the foundation, everything like that.
Yeah. If you looking to donate in the 2022 year, man. Any donation, no donation is too small or too big. You can go to AntoineBethea.com and donate to the Bethea Family Foundation. I promise you, it will do some good in the community. Also, you can follow me at abethea41. That's on Twitter. That's on Instagram. And also follow the Man to Man Pod. We're live on YouTube Mondays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. That's myself and that's Darius Butler. So yeah, man, again, man, I appreciate you for having me on. Keep doing your thing. I wish you the best of luck. Have a happy new year, man. And good health.
Yes, sir. Same to you. Happy New Year.
Yes, sir.